Hello students, hope you all are fine. Today in this session we will discuss the second chapter from your supplementary text. This lesson, that is Bringing Up Kari, is an extract from the book Kari the Elephant. The writer is Dhan Gopal Mukherjee. Dhan Gopal was born on July 6, 1890 in a village on the outskirts of Calcutta. His early education was in schools set up by Scottish missionaries. Eventually, he went to the University of Calcutta, where he displayed a special flair for English. The memories of his serene childhood would serve him well in his later turbulent years. Dhan Gopal greatly admired his elder brother Jadu Gopal, who was a part of the militant nationalist movement in British India. Dhan Gopal's fame has to be measured against the fact that there was a fair bit of discrimination at this time against Asian Americans, which culminated in the Immigration Act of 1917, also known as the Asiatic Barred Zone Act. Although sensitive to race relations, Dhan Gopal never allowed racial prejudices to affect him. His books for children were mainly his own versions of tales he had heard in India, filled with nostalgia for a life he had left behind. They were hugely successful. One of them, Gay Neck, the story of a pigeon, won the 1928 Newbery Medal, awarded for the best children's literature of the year. He also wrote non-fiction poetry and translations which were published in prestigious forums such as the Century magazine and the Atlantic. The first part of his 1923 autobiography, Caste and Outcast, deals with his Indian experience, in particular his rebellion against the tradition of his family. Children, this was about our writer Dhan Gopal. Now, if you remember, in our first chapter in supplementary, we learned many things and so many facts about an insect. So who is that? An ant. I'm sure you remember, children. Now in this chapter, we will know fascinating things about an elephant. The word elephant comes from the Greek word elephas, which means ivory. The gestation period of elephants is 22 months. Baby elephants weigh around 100 kg on average. The babies can stand up shortly after being born. The average lifespan of an elephant is from 50 to 70 years. Male African elephants can reach 3 meters tall and weigh between 4,000 to 7,500 kg. Children, Asian elephants are slightly smaller, reaching 2.7 meters tall and weighing 3,000 to 6,000 kg. Elephants spend between 12 to 15 hours eating grass, plants and fruits every single day. They use their long trunks to smell their food and lift it up into their mouth. An adult needs to eat up to 150 kg of food a day. That's 50 tons a year. Elephants are highly social animals with incredible memories. It's really true that elephants never forget. Elephants are known to display complex behavior, indicating that they feel empathy for others and are capable of demonstrating other emotions, including grief. Children, do you know that elephants can get sunburn? These giants bathe in mud to help protect their skin from the sun. They also do that to keep bugs away. Elephant tusks have variety of uses. We all know about that. And female elephants live in groups, all related and led by a matriarch, usually the oldest in the group. The trunk of an elephant is flexible extension of his upper lip and nose. Sadly, children, elephants are in trouble now. Many are killed by humans for their ivory tusk because they have come into conflict with communities or simply for sport. We have recently read about how humans have killed an elephant. The saddest part is that the elephant died. I think you all have heard about this recent news. Children, without much delay, let us start with our chapter where Dhan Gopal expresses and tells us about his childhood memories with an elephant. In this chapter, he tells us how Kari, the elephant, has been a part of his childhood memories. Kari was 5 months old when he came under the care of the narrator. The narrator too was a young boy, merely 9 years old. The narrator could reach Kari's back if he stood on his toes. Kari remained of the same height for the next 2 years. Both the narrator and Kari grew simultaneously. Kari lived in a pavilion under a thatched roof with thick tree stumps to prevent him from falling. Every morning, Kari and the narrator used to go to the river for a bath. Kari used to lie down on the sandbank while the narrator used to rub and clean him. After that, Kari would spend a long time in the water, and when he would come out of it, he would be in a very happy state. Kari did not eat much, but still he consumed about 40 pounds of twigs every day. The narrator would leave him on the edge of the jungle while he went to get food for Kari. The narrator would describe how he had to be very careful about the selection of the twigs. As an elephant does not consume mutilated twigs, the narrator would spend half an hour to sharpen the hatchet required for the same. Can you see the picture of the hatchet here? While the narrator was busy selecting twigs for the from the young branches of the banyan tree, he hears Kari screaming for help. Since Kari was really young, the narrator gets worried that somebody was hurting him. The narrator hurries to rescue Kari, but he was not there where the narrator had left him. As the narrator reached the edge of the water, he saw something black struggling above the surface of the water. Soon the narrator felt that Kari was drowning in the water. The narrator felt helpless as it was difficult for him to jump into the water and rescue Kari as it weighed 400 pounds. But that very moment, narrator saw Kari emerging from the water. He pushed the narrator into the stream towards a young boy who lay flat on the bottom of the river. The narrator, seeing the boy somewhat float, went back into the water. Kari stood there, his feet firmly rooted in the sand and his trunk stretched out towards the narrator as if offering his hand to him. Since the narrator was not a good swimmer, it was difficult for him to save the boy. Kari at that point came halfway into the water and with his trunk tried to pull out the narrator. According to the narrator, Kari was no less than a baby. The narrator now describes how he felt and how he needed to train Kari, else Kari would be very mischief. So here he tells us about another incident about Kari. So he says once Kari ate some bananas and suddenly grew very fond of the bananas. In the narrator's house, large plates of fruits were kept on the dining table. Disappearance of the bananas soon became a regular feature. Sometimes the blame fell upon the servants, and at other times the narrator was declared as a culprit. Soon the narrator realized that Kari was responsible for the mysterious disappearance of the bananas. The narrator then showed the real thief to his parents and he scolded Kari. Kari felt ashamed that he never dared to do this thing again. Nevertheless, when someone offered him fruits, he would be really delighted. Elephants are willing to be punished for misdeeds. However, if they are punished without a reason, they remember it and pay it back. Elephants require to be trained. They need to be taught when to walk, when to sit, when to slow down, and so on. If you say dart and pull them by their ears, they would learn to sit down. Similarly, if you say Mali and pull their trunk, they would learn that it is a signal to walk. Kari took 3 classes to learn Mali, but it took him 3 weeks to learn dart. It is important to teach animals to sit, else humans would need a ladder to climb their back. An elephant grows really tall in 2 to 3 years. It's very important to teach an elephant the master call. The narrator says the master call is a hissing and howling sound as if a snake or a tiger were fighting. Elephants need to be taught this call because this is the signal that the elephants need to pull down the tree to frighten other animals. This is usually given when one feels lonely and frightened in the jungle. The elephants can frighten all the animals in the jungle by doing so. Children, this was the explanation about the chapter Bringing Up Kari. And I have also told you a few facts about elephants. And I also told you the recent news about an elephant. So now we will discuss and clarify the doubts related to this chapter. Thank you for listening, children.